We're just waiting on notification. Perfect. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than Sister Captain Barbara Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Wa alaikum salam, son. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. First of all, on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, I want to thank you for your hard work, the work that you put in, your sacrifice, your family sacrifice. We thank Allah for them as well. And before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that you are truly appreciated and a gem in our nation. So may Allah continue to bless you and your family, ma'am.
You as well, and your entire family, who have made very, very strong contributions to the rebirth of our nation, and still even currently at this time, with you being in front of me, who I knew before you were born.
Oh,
thank you so much. I'm very humbled, Brother Joshua, that you would have me on your program.
Yes, ma'am. The honor is mine. Okay, so let's go to the first question that we would like to know, ma'am. When did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
I first heard the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1970. Many of my adult friends that I grew up with, they became Muslims. They became registered Muslims in the Nation of Islam. And the fondness that we had towards one another led us to spend a lot of time together, just trying to make differences in the lives of people, trying to reform the human capital, which is most important, is the human being. That's the best of capital. So, you know, it was in the 70s that I mostly was affected by the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am. Great. And people are showing you love already. Both my sisters, Mimi and Naima, Sister Aisha Kareem says, Assalamu alaikum salam. I think this is her first time watching. And Sister Khadija Kareem says, Assalamu alaikum family, and she's excited about watching for the first time as well. Beautiful. Okay, so now, Sister Captain, what I wanted to ask you is, with the fall of the Nation of Islam, 1975, you witnessed that. What was that like experiencing watching the Nation of Islam take a fall?
I recall I used to work in the dry cleaners. And I was sitting down in the office that I had in that dry cleaners, reading the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. It's a book of prophecy. They announced over the radio that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had died. So during my lunch break, I went outside to take a walk, and I ran into a brother by the name of Owen from Chester. I was still living in Chester at that time. And I said, Brother Owen, they announced that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has passed. And he said, Sister, never believe it. He said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has not died. So he is one person that I can give a testimony of, and others that never believed the death, so-called death of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. Shout out to Brother Owen. Is Brother Owen still here? Is he still here
now? No, sir. He has transitioned since then. And then after that, it was just a very, 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 very dark period. And the Muslims were just scattered. A lot of people were really hurting. To mention the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Minister Farrakhan during that period, you were looked at as a hypocrite. You were looked at as a disbeliever for believing in Master Fard Muhammad and trying to continue the teaching that God is man, man is God, and that our Savior had arrived. That wasn't to be talked about. So there were small groups of people that were really like fleeing and running to and fro. Brother from Chester by the name of Brother Lamont Muhammad, he moved his family to DC. Brother Harold 7X, who you and I talked about because he was in Atlanta, and he was the person in 1978 in September that wrote me a letter And he said that Almighty God Allah had put my name in his mind. Now, I hadn't seen her since maybe 74. And I got the train out of 30th Street Station and met him at Far Rockaway, New York. And then after that, we met at the state office building. That's where I first met Brother Linward X Cathcart, who we affectionately call the general, who is Abdul Kareem Muhammad. And there was like about maybe 10 to 12 people in that setting. And we had all dedicated ourselves that we were going to do whatever we could to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan rebirth the Nation of Islam. So we went around trying to find old followers, people who had formerly said they believed, but at that time they didn't believe that anymore. They had thrown their uniforms, the sisters. I even brought 2 uniforms out of the Salvation Army. You know, they had thrown the FOI, all of the disciplines that we had gained in the Nation of Islam had just been thrown away. But the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, and I shared with you, we need to thank Almighty God Allah always for his love and for his preservation of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Because when I first met your dad and your uncle, Akil, who was formerly Rodney.
Yes, ma'am.
I can see them, visually see them coming into Phyllis Wheatley in Washington, D.C., because the Honorable Minister Farrakhan used to come there on Tuesday nights and teach. And they had on blue suits. I'll never forget it. They used to always kind of, dress alike. And they wanted to help. They wanted to serve. They came to serve. And even when with myself, in the early 80s, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan visited Chester twice, and he spoke at Chester High School. And we would try to put food together and feed him. And the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, with us being unlearned in that way, he still accepted our charitable behaviors towards him. And he never, ever chided us. And he always treated us with such a loving, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And we would see him often. It was almost like we would see him 2 and 3 times a week, literally. And up and down the East Coast, going from Brooklyn and Harlem, and then to Cheney State University, all the college campuses. We would come down to DC. We had meetings at the Howard Hotel. I don't even think the Howard Hotel exists anymore. And we just did a lot of traveling up and down the East Coast. And he just was so beautiful in his way of guiding us that he knew we didn't really know, but he still let us, kind of act out our new reality of trying to serve him. And he allowed us to stand post for him. He allowed us to feed him. How I officially got involved in the Honorable Minister Farrakhan's hosting was Sister Karima, who is now living in Atlanta.
Yes, ma'am.
She contacted me. It was in November of 1982. And she said, sister, we understand that when the minister come around, you do try to have a little something together for him. So I said, yes, ma'am. So she said, I'd love to come to your home and inspect your home. He was coming, I think, to Philadelphia to speak at Reverend Leon Sullivan's church. And so she did. She came and she inspected my home and everything like that. Gave me a few little clues on how to handle his meal serving. And really the first one of the sisters that I worked with that had been working with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan as a cook was Sister Celestine. May Allah be pleased with Sister Celestine. And her beloved husband. And we worked together to make sure that we could provide for the Honorable Minister Farrakhan some service that, he respectfully thanked us for our bean soup. We would bring all kinds of cakes Brother Dennis, your father and them, I would have to tell them, look, don't take the cake to your room. This cake is for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And then, the sisters back then, it was Sister Helen, Sister Minerva, oh my God.
Yes, ma'am.
And Sister Edna, just many, many sisters. We had no money, but we had food stamps. Now I'm telling you some stories I never even shared with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. He didn't know that we were putting together food stamps to go get groceries so that we could serve him a decent meal. He didn't know that. But you know what? He never asked us either. He just accepted our service with a smile, with gratitude, and he blessed us and thanked us. And so, that was why it was important for me after over 42 years to get this out. Because when I saw the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on this past Wednesday night, I'm in awe of him because I saw him at 40, maybe 49 years old. And now I'm seeing him at 89 years old. And to know what this man and his family and the earlier believers who came to support him during the rebirth, what we suffered, that now you can come in on carpeted floors, chandeliers, chairs to sit in. I mean, we sit around at tables in each other's houses with our ears posted at somebody's radio. And, we had not all of the luxury and conveniences. I want to give Sister Claudette Marie a thanks because when I met her in Washington, D.C. in the mosque, and she was trying to come forward to become a member of the Nation of Islam, she saw, based on the world that she had come from, that our etiquettes were off and that we really didn't know how to treat a man of the stature of Minister Louis Farrakhan. Like the minister said the other night about his bling bling and, the Rolls Royce and all of that, that humble man really just loved the fact that we loved him. We loved him so much that even though we didn't know exactly what we were doing, we were trying. We were striving with all of our hearts and minds to do this service towards him. When we went on the Stop the Killing tour,
yes, ma'am.
I went to every city that we went to, and we would carry hot plates, bring some pots along the way, can openers, whatever we needed to have. I remember Master Musa, when we went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they were outside chanting, "How do you want him? Farrakhan, how do you want him? Dead." But I was like, do they know the ammunition? First starting with the God, and then with Master Musa, and I think even Khaled was with us that night. And it would have been a pretty sad story that night if they tried anything. But I want you to ask me questions that you have on your heart.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to personally thank your father for all that he did to secure Minister Farrakhan, all that he did to help DC get up, and my beloved brother, who we were neighbors at one point, Brother James Booker, who became Brother Wali, his beloved wife Zenobia.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We were all neighbors at one point in Suitland, Maryland. And just the humble beginnings. Brother George, may Allah be pleased with him, out of Philadelphia. Brother Bobby at that time, who was the captain in Philadelphia. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan, used to have to let those brothers know, we not, y'all can't be the brown shirts, because they was going to kill death itself for Farrakhan, okay? But the humbleness of the minister to help us and to develop us and to teach us. He taught me really how to love service, how to serve people. So he said, you know, sister, you ever looked at cabbage? He said, cabbage has veins in it, just like your hand has veins in it. So you don't take the cabbage and butcher the cabbage. So sisters ask me all the time, Sister Barbara, give me a recipe for this or a recipe for that. But I say this from my heart. When I look at the food and I think of the people that I'm going to prepare it for,
Yes, ma'am.
that's where the recipe comes from.
Mm.
Literally. Okay. So when I look at the broccoli is going to have benefit for your life.
Yes, ma'am.
Then I love you. So I'm going to think about, wow, if I do this with the broccoli and do that with the broccoli, then guess what? The brother or sister who eats it, or my husband, family, or whoever, they're going to get a benefit from that. So that's all the years that I've had the honor, and I mean, it has been an honor to serve in the hotel rooms with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and all of his helpers, from Celestine to Sister Mariam to Sister, Mary today. I thank Allah. I could never have experienced such a beautiful and wonderful life as to have served this man even as much as a glass of water. So anything else you want to ask me, I'm willing to attempt to answer. But I want your audience out here today, affectionately out of Philadelphia, they call me the Queen of Cuisine. So I'm always threatening the believers that I'm gonna have an apron burning. But when I talked to you earlier today, I was right down in the kitchen, and I've been in the kitchens of Muhammad Mosque throughout this East Coast, especially for now over 42 years. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Beautiful. Okay, and we have so many more questions for you, Sister Captain. Just want to make sure you know we thank you for your work and your sacrifice. So many people have commented on here. My sister Naima says, beautiful. Sister Shamira says, what did Shamira X Barnes, what an honor it is to be trained by such a hardworking sister. Sister Khadija says, indeed, look at that. Sister Rabia says, wow, a wise woman. Sister Valerie Red Muhammad, all praises to Allah. Sister Kamira Mumin, all praises due to Allah. People are showing you love all across the country. Thank everyone who continues to like, share, and subscribe. Sister Shamira X Barnes, go ahead. And people just showing you. Sister Khadija says, the captain can never leave the kitchen even when she tries. Beautiful. Okay.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. How did your family and friends feel about you accepting the teaching?
Well, one of the things that happened in the early 60s, my uncle Clarence used to always bring the Muhammad Speaks newspaper home with him. And then my grandfather, his thing to do with the children was, when they became strong enough in their development to sit up on his knee, he mashed navy beans and gave you a biscuit with so much butter you almost slid off his lap. And I think about that, how much wisdom our grandparents and great-grandparents had without calling it Islam, or without, having the knowledge that we have been blessed to have revelation towards this diet. And so my family was very supportive of me when I came into the Nation of Islam, and they still support. And my mother, when Minister Farrakhan was diagnosed with prostate cancer, she used to ask me, oh, how's the minister? How's the minister? So even though they didn't register into the nation, they did not interfere with me being in the nation at all.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And people are showing you love all across the country. Sister Tara Watts and Sister Valerie Red, and everybody's just showing you love. Thank you all for continuing to show love to our Sister Captain and Watch the People's Podcast. My next question for you, ma'am, is Sister Minister Dr. Ava Muhammad, with the recent situation. What was it like for you to know her in her early days, and how did she personally impact you?
I saw Sister Ava come into Islam. Peace be to Allah, in New York City, New York. And Sister Ava always was on the point. She was a very strong, as many people have exclaimed lately, defender for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. She didn't take a back seat to that at any time. But yet she was a beautiful woman. She was a beautiful sister. She didn't, make herself of any sort of prominence or anything like that. She just wanted to do the work. But she was not shy to let you know if you was, lame, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So she was really bulletproof solid. And that's how Brother Abdul Kareem, if you hear from anyone, they'll tell you in a minute, Brother Kareem used to have one motto, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Minister Kadir, who was a first officer in Newark, Brother Anthony at one point, I remember he had this like little gray car, it was a Cadillac. And we didn't have money. So if we got the Honorable Minister Farrakhan to LaGuardia Airport, the rest of the ride was in that Cadillac up and down the East Coast. And Sister Ava, had a background. She was an attorney. She was prominent in that field. And she relaxed all of that. She used that then to be the defender in her legal sense and legal right, but more than that, in the law of God towards the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we were sisters. We loved each other. When she would come into Philadelphia, she would always have me to come and, dine with her. And there have been occasions when she visited us in Wilmington, Delaware. We had a great time, and I cooked for her and her daughter and Brother Darius. And we just loved each other as brothers and sisters, and we supped with each other, and we struggled with each other, and we shared with each other everything that we had. And so, yeah, she's a beautiful sister. She still lives because her words are just as powerful on the pages. I'm thankful to Allah, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan shared the last letter that she wrote him.
Yes, ma'am.
And also the fact that she got completed Study Guide 22. So she's an exceptional, wonderful person to have been able to be called sister and friend.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Captain. My next question is, all of these years in the East Coast and DC and Delaware, and I often tell Sister Khadija when she's on the podcast about how the Chester is so hood. Have you ever faced fear? And if so, how have you overcome fear?
I was living in Philadelphia, and my mother raised us in public housing in the city of Chester. And what happened during the 80s when the crack epidemic hit, the housing all over the country, your father got involved in public housing in terms of security firms.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I got involved in a litigation. We sued the federal government. We sued the city of Chester, and we sued the Chester Housing Authority for de facto demolition of public housing. And we won in federal court. And to that end, millions upon millions upon millions of dollars were spent on bricks and mortar, but we had a social contract because the Honorable Minister Farrakhan had taught us, don't build bricks and mortar and forget the people, because the people will just tear the bricks and mortar back down. So the work in Chester, because that was my home, I lived in Philadelphia, but I literally moved back in the projects, as we called them back then. We now call them, public housing, and, we call the tenants residents now. So to that end, I was involved in reconstruction and new construction of over 1,500 units of public housing. And maybe about 780 units of Section 8 voucher housing. Because some of the housing stock that we built 5 senior villages, which were properties built exclusively for senior residency and places that might have had handicaps. And then we did some home ownership units, combined, made mixed communities. And then we built the public housing stock. A matter of fact, Sister Minister Ava was able to come and visit at one of the places that I personally had a lot to do with its development, called Chatham Estates. And she said, wow, Sister Barbara, no trash on the, on the ground, nobody walking through here cursing, I ain't, there's just quiet and peace. So I hosted, as a matter of fact, student minister Ishmael, the ministry class at the same senior property. And when we had the Flowers While We Live banquet,
yes, ma'am,
the Honorable Minister Farrakhan had me to present on the development of senior housing, if you recall. Praise be to Allah. And from that, I was the director of a pre-apprenticeship school for about 15 years. So I got young men and women, not just in the labor force, but in the crafts labors, as iron workers, steam fitters, operator engineers, carpenters, electricians.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So, that's the work that I was able to do with people.
Oh, praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The people are bearing witness all in the comments saying, wow, I know that's right. Go off, Sister Captain. That's right, sister. Yes, ma'am. all that good stuff. From all
calm down.
All the sisters across the country, they're showing you love.
Praise to Allah.
Everyone who continues to watch. My next question for you, ma'am, is you spoke of my mother when we were on the phone, and you said you knew me and my siblings before we were here. What was my mom's like when she was younger?
Oh, she was just a beautiful woman. Everything that was spoken of her when she transitioned was all truth. Because, she was smart. She had all kinds of little talents, but she was a dedicated, reverent kind of soldier, Muslim. And, I remember your dad, if he'll tell you, he had a little thrift store. I think it was on like Northwest Capitol Street or something like that. And she worked in that store, like, at the counter and everything. And then, I don't think she had finished graduated high school. I'm not certain. You can correct me on this if I'm in error. And then your grandmom, she would come. She was such a wonderful, wonderful woman. Because her son and daughter, your mother, Sister Sharifa, and our beloved brother Jamil, they were young in Islam, but she didn't seemingly, because I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but on the front, she had their back. And she always was supportive of their desire to be registered Muslims in the Nation of Islam. But your mom, she was just a staunch soldier. Sisters love her. They always will remember her. Her name will forever live and have an impact on what the vanguards are attempting to become. And the reason I use the word attempting is because I hope sisters across the country will take this in the spirit that I'm saying it. Listen closely this weekend as you have the opportunity to hear from a man who has been a guardian, a real true Zacharias for the women who have joined the Nation of Islam. And then we have to remember that Master Farad Muhammad put his signature next to our class. So sisters, we owe ourselves a great obligation towards self. We've had our sister minister, Dr. Ava, always trying to enlighten us on the comparison of the male-female relationship. We won. We don't have no opposition towards the male. We shouldn't have opposition towards the female. We got to connect the dots. We got to make sure we stay a unit. Okay? Or guess what you're doing? You're breaching national security. So yeah, your mom was really a beautiful young woman. She was a beautiful soldier. She loved her family. She was not short on words. You know, she knew how to say it to you sweetly. But she wasn't short on the words, okay? Nah.
Let's do so. Yes, well, beautiful. What's the captain? Once again, the sisters are going off and saying praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Blessed. That's right. All
I
right.
hope this is not an MGT class. I hope some brothers are on here.
Yes, ma'am. They're there, but the sisters, y'all, there's so much love, so much positive MGT hairpieces being swung right now in the comments. So shout out to all the sisters and the brothers. Shout out to all the FOY who are showing love to our sister captain as well. We have a quick 60-second commercial, ma'am, and we come back. We have a lot of yes, ma'am. We have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast this month. I want to thank everyone. If you hold on, there we go. And boom, there we go. And if you would like to be a sponsor or donor of the People's Podcast, please let us know. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and he does television and film editing. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book, coloring book, and now Spanish book. All three available on Amazon.com. Please get those. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studio of Atlanta, Georgia. We love our tiny dancers. Rock Communications. If you're working on a book and you need copy editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Rock Communications. Also, Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad out of Austin, Texas, conflict mediation, squashing the beef throughout the Southwest region. He does a phenomenal job. His wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad, Children of the Most High, giving birth to a God in the science of child rearing. Please get her book. Also, Fashion Guides, Urban Streetwear for Men and Boys, 314-329-6009. He'll keep you dripping in the best of fashion. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Let's make sure we support Brother Kenneth. Taj Hollywood, Chemistry, YouTube episode 6 and 7 are available. If you are looking to get into acting, please reach out to Taj Hollywood. His series is phenomenal on YouTube. Also, Keeping It Hood, helping others overcome depression. Keeping It Hood, thank you very much. Brother Aaron Muhammad, he has Elevated Places, and of course, Iridology. If you need help with credit repair, cleaning repair, real estate, also personal wellness, personal fitness, spiritual fitness, and spiritual wellness. 229-344-1474. Thank you very much. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services out of Chicago. My father's book, The Soldier Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Right back to Sister Captain Barbara. Now, ma'am, my next question for you is, will you ever write a book on your personal life, ma'am?
I get asked that all the time. And I don't know. Allah knows. He's the best knower.
Yes, ma'am.
But I get asked that all the time. But I got all these stories written in my heart and mind, and maybe they do need to come out on paper, but I'm just so happy to be alive to testify, you got to have living testimonials.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Beautiful. Some people are showing you love across the country. Brother Vermont and Muslim 4 and Sister Willie said, "Some Lakem family, Lakem Salam." Or Brother Willie X Barnes, Walaikum Salam, and thank you everyone who's showing love all across the country. Sister Captain, brothers are showing love as well. Yes, well. My next question for you is, what has been your greatest trial in your journey in Islam, and how have you overcome that trial?
The death of my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter and I were having a conversation at about 11 o'clock one night. We were going to plan a trip to go to Rehoboth Beach. And by 5 o'clock, the next morning, I was looking at her on the floor dead. And you know what I did, Joshua? Brother Joshua?
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe only Allah led me to do this. As I saw my daughter laying there on the floor, I raised my right hand and I said, Allah, I accept your will. And I do. And I did. And I still do. And so when I think of her, I think of all the beautiful times we shared together, how beautiful she was as a human being, how much laughter we would dance, and she was us, but she was someone who loved God.
Yes, ma'am.
That girl loved God, even if it was the church or the mosque.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
She just
ma'am.
loved God. And so, I think that was a huge trial for me to really be able to come back today even and testify that I accepted God's will. I never felt no whole lot of grief. As brother student minister Robert here in Wilmington, Delaware, he says at her janazah service, I still carried out all the same etiquettes of service. I was sitting people down and making sure other people were comfortable and all of that, even though I was not, thinking of it that way, but that was the way I had been cultivated to serve. And it really came from what I saw in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that now, no matter how big the trial was in his life, he still remained very civil. He remained very conscientious and conscious towards the service of humanity and people in general, just a soldier. I often tell minister people that Minister Farrakhan, during the rebirth, he was everything. I mean, we didn't have national officials, so to speak. I remember Sister Christine Muhammad and what's Brother Benny, what's Brother Benny's brother Theroy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I
Yes, ma'am.
remember all of them. They attempted to help during the rebirth and everything. But as it dealt with the conflict of titles, a lot of people disbanded from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan when he took titles, and just ask us, learn to be brother and sister. So, that was my hardest trial.
Yes, ma'am. All praises to Allah. And I'm so glad that you have the positive outlook and energy towards that, and people that we can learn from you, ma'am. Sister Linda said, man, Allah forever be pleased. Sister Kim, I mean, Brother Mont, and people, Sister Khadija showing you love as well. What has been your greatest joy in life, ma'am?
At 43 years old, I had my son, Ahmed. And Ahmed, we always been like, people, some people have never seen me without him, literally. And so people would, if they saw me, they said, where your son at? Because all those up and down the roads and down in Congress and arguing at the White House and going down there, like the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said, I came for my check. I got pictures home with me being down there at the White House, picking up them millions of dollars in checks because they owed our people. They let us live and suffer in them tenants and in them housing dilapidated buildings, and the FOI and your father and other groups that became Brother Captain Gregory, may Allah be pleased with him, that started security firms, were willing to go in there and suck with our people and try to show them a better way of life. And for that, I'll always be grateful of my work there. I got blessed that the Housing Authority, a couple years ago now, they put a memorial, it's like in bronze, and it's a picture of myself and the other 3 women that fought that litigation. And as of about 3 weeks ago, I'm the last one living. The other 3 sisters, they've since transitioned. But I keep their name alive. I keep the name alive of many people that have fought in this horrible country that we live in, that now is on its way out.
Beautiful.
We just gotta stay together. I'm concerned that we stay together, that we do all that we can to survive these years that we have ahead of us, and that we don't disunite, and that we don't speak ahead or act ahead of the one who is giving us the charge. Let's stay connected to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because he has served us and he has served his teacher. And I want to see him get the job well done.
Yes, ma'am. Excellent. People showing you love, continue to show you love. all across the country, putting emojis and just showing you love. And thank you everyone who's watch. I can't wait to put this on YouTube. Please let us know what city you all are watching from on YouTube as well. My next question for you, ma'am, is music. What type of music do you like to listen to?
All kinds of music. I love music. You know what? I love dancing.
Okay, okay.
When I was, going out, I had my day in the clubs and all that. I could dance all night,
Yes, ma'am.
and so I love dancing. I love all kinds of music. I came up around the era where jazz was just always, available, even on the street corners. You had the rock guys on the corners singing, we just lost one of our most excellent FOI generals too, and our beloved brother William Hart Muhammad, lead singer of the Delphonics.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Forever he will be just cherished in the hearts and minds of many. He brought a lot of people to the Nation of Islam. The thing about him, he never let his artistry or his ego get out of line with the fact that he came to be a Muslim under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and then the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we salute him for that.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. And I didn't know you like to dance. Okay, so Barbara, next time there's an outing or something in the thing, like, hey, Sister Cat, look at
I love dancing. Hey, recently my nephew, he just got married in Miami a couple weeks ago. So the believers was laughing at me, when I got back about, we saw you, Sister Captain, we saw you. So, I had a great time, and dancing is a part of our culture.
Absolutely it is. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. And people are showing you love. That's right. People are showing you love in the comments. Watching, Brother Tyree says he's watching from Bogota, Colombia. Hey, all right, our brother from Colombia. And he knows about dancing, bailar. However you say that in Spanish. I hope I said that right, bailar. I think I said it correct. All right. My next question for you, ma'am, is seeing as that the Most High Louis Farrakhan keeps letting us know that we have to pass this test of his departure, what advice would you give as someone who has been in the nation for so many decades as to keeping our faith and keeping 10 toes down and following the law? What advice would you give us?
The historical Jesus that they have not written completely truthfully about, but let's just go through it for a minute. I always say that one of the things I've learned from the way he lived his life, he didn't allow himself to be tempted. And that temptation, as we heard the Honorable Minister Farrakhan on Wednesday night, comes subliminally. It comes out of sometimes your own passions. It comes out of you thinking you know more than you really know. You're not the authority over stuff that you want to implement or get over. But one of the things that I personally have made me to survive, because like I said, I didn't drop out of heaven. I came right up out of the hoods and the streets and the circumstances and the conflicts of life. But I always keep my mind on the fact that I'm not the originator. And so I'm not going to disrespect the originator and what he has provided, because this is his creation. And so brother Kareem used to say, why walk so heavily upon the earth when you can't break through it? So if you want to stay true to yourself and to you registered, see, the Nation of Islam is not like, when our other brothers and sisters, I don't mock anyone's faith, make their shahada. No, you got to write a letter in the nation. You got to have a sense of commitment in terms of registration. You have to take on a national. We got our own flag. So it's different than just saying, I bear witness there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. You had to write a letter.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You had to become a registered member You had to recite a student enrollment and
Yes, ma'am.
actual facts. So those are the things that you hold on to. What is it to you? How much does it matter to you to stay in the ranks, to stay in the army of Almighty God Allah, and to obey, hear and obey the commander in chief? You'll be all right then. And learn to ask permission sometime. You know what I mean, Brother Joshua?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we got this Joshua generation, and we love you all. We love your great intuition and your great inventions and all of the things that Allah is allowing you all to know. But you ain't got all of it yet. You still need the elders.
Absolutely.
You still need the elders.
Yes,
So
ma'am. That's a
let's be
fact.
one nation. Let's not be all fractured.
Oh, praise the Lord. Yes, ma'am. You're teaching. Okay. Well, I wanted to ask you. You spoke earlier of the people outside giving the minister death threats. How do you want them, dead and things of that nature? When during that time period, in that climate, what made you still soldier? You weren't afraid to go, with your family, or go back. You weren't nervous being a woman, having to face death threats and things like that.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you a little story. Before we did all of the new construction and renovations of these public housing sites, I was walking down a street called Central Avenue, and this young brother was getting ready to shoot this woman, the sister. Brother Joshua, I got right in between him, her, and the gun. People were howling at the window, Sister Boy, get back. I looked that young brother in the eye. I said, young man, you don't want to do this. Put the gun down. Now, only Allah, but I always kind of like from God been fearless, because Sister Jill, who is, Brother Mufaka's
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. He was my first lieutenant in Philly one time. And so I saw some children standing out in North Philly on the corner, and it was getting ready to be sunset. I said, I wonder who them children belong to. So we went over to them. We stopped the car. I said, babies, where's your mother? They pointed to the bar. I said, Jill, go in and get that woman out of there. And that's what we did. See, so today we have a much more, ooey cooey little way of dealing with folks. But when I was coming up, if the FOI saw you naked, they confronted your nakedness. Sister, pull that dress down. And next time I see you, don't you have that old short dress on? Or if they saw you trying to go in and get poke yak from the Chinese store, they confronted you. Sister, we know you ain't going in there getting none of that hog. So I'm going to wait on the one who is the chief of our armies to give us direction on how to whip our people back into some form of discipline, because we have lost our discipline. And that's why we're losing our young men and women to this gun violence, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said if we picked up these weapons, we weren't going to do nothing, use them on each other.
That's right. That's a fact.
And his words have surely come true. And another thing I used to say to my son all the time, never give. And this was from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as well. Never give the devil away against you. Don't give it to him. You out here, you don't have your license. You ain't prepared to be even out here in this wicked world because you're just not right yourself. But yet you want the sanction of Almighty God Allah. I really believe, Brother Joshua, with all my heart, and I'm talking to me now, that we got a short period of time to get it right.
Yes, ma'am.
And, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he want to get up yonder. And we want him to get up there with joy in our hearts. But Lord, when he go, all the wrath of Almighty God Allah will be decreed on us.
Yes, ma'am. You
Let's
teaching.
stop playing.
Yes, ma'am. You teaching. Sure. Okay. Sister Khadija says some form of discipline. Sister Shamira says, my sister Captain. Sister Miriam, my sister Miriam says, you've been teaching today. Brother Lamont says, true story. And people just showing you love all across the country. And thank everyone who continues to watch. My next question, ma'am, is okay, so this is what I was going to tell you. So my father told me, of course, my mother reiterated as well, but my father would be telling me when I would deal with the brothers in the drill and the discipline. He said that the minister told him, Most Honorable Sis Farrakhan told him that the captain makes the Muslims and then turns them over to the minister. So you, all of these years, you've been training, you've been making Muslims by the grace of Allah. What has been your main thing that you've been teaching the sisters to help make them Muslims?
What I was taught, I was so blessed, Brother Joshua, to have experienced Sister Captain Amina Rasul and Sister Nettie Mae out of Detroit, Michigan.
Yes, ma'am.
Sister Huday Sharif out of California. Sister Captain Portia Pasha. Sister Captain Bessie Jean. Sister Clara Muhammad down in DC. Brother Benjamin Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am.
So I owe, because Sister Amina Rasul treated me so much like a mother that I stayed with her one night in Queens, New York, where she lived in Queens at that time. And in the middle of the night, I felt her come in there and put covers over me. And she kept me very close to her. And my beloved sister, Clara Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with her forever.
Yes, ma'am.
E. Stephen Collins, he was a music personality and radio personality, in Philadelphia. And they used to have these festivals on the Parkway. So I was the person they would contract with to do food for the entertainers. The last person I think I did was Phyllis Hyman. And he wanted a woman from Islam. He wanted to celebrate a woman, give her a big, trophy, all of that. And I said, well, I'm not worthy of that. I said, but guess what? The woman who allowed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, while he was on the run from hypocrites, is still alive in DC. And we could bring her. He said, really? He said, if you can make that happen, I'll send a limousine down there to pick her up, bring her up here, have the award ceremony, and we'll make sure she gets back. So Sister Alima, she traveled with Sister Clara to Philadelphia. And when they pulled up with the limo, I had my whole street where I lived in front of my entryway to my home lined with rose petals. I loved Sister Clara Muhammad. She was a soldier. She used to be out on the corner with her little papers. She raised a lot of children that were orphans. They did a lot of work. And so I was so honored to have had her get that award, because she surely deserved it.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This is great history, and thank you for sharing this history. And people just showing you love all over the country, just saying, my captain, all praises to Allah. Thank you. You're teaching, and this is amazing. Sister Aisha, Minister Aisha from Phoenix, says she remembers Sister Barbara, Captain, and Sister Baina was one of the captains as well. She remembers both of you also. Praise be to Allah. And it's good to see all of the history and everybody having it's like a family reunion virtually. So it's always good to hear stories. Praise be to Allah. And thank you for, once again, I can't reiterate this enough, on behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. We thank Allah for your sacrifice and the sacrifices of your family, ma'am. All praises due to Allah.
And I thank Allah for you. I love you.
I love you more, man.
Honored that you asked me to be on this wonderful, wonderful platform of yours.
Thank you, ma'am.
And may Allah extend the greetings again to your beloved father and your Uncle Jamil.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be sure to. And
All
thank
right.
everyone for watching. Sis Captain, I got it. We got to meet in person. I look forward to it. I
No
love meeting
problem.
people who said they knew me before I was here or knew me as a child.
Yeah.
That's just
Knew you
great.
before you came out.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much
Allahu Akbar.
for being with us. Allahu Akbar. Thank everyone who's watching, and thank you to Sister Issa and Sister Allah for being the connection and helping me set this interview up. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off of the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Wa alaikum salam, son.
Thank you everybody for watching. All right.